plaintiff, David Dawkins, says the defendant is his brother, and although they grew up together, they took different paths in life. David claims the defendant started smoking pot and eventually got into trouble with the law. David is suing because he says the defendant stole his identity, and as a result, David was arrested. Defendant James Dawkins admits that he smoked pot, but insists he first smoked pot with David when he was 10 or 11 years old. James feels David has always been jealous of him because he's the baby in the family, and he does not believe he owes David for anything.
Start with you.
To start off, this is my brother James Dawkins. Man. We grew up in the same household. We've had a lot of the same experiences. We've done, we took baths together. That's my little brother. But as we got older, he started to choose a different path. He's been, started off smoking weed, drinking, hanging out with the wrong crowd.
At what age?
For the record, I started off smoking weed with him.
At what age?
I was, I believe, 10, maybe 11.
How old was he, 14 or something?
Yes, sir.
All right, is that true?
That's correct.
All right, so you turned him on the weed, then you want to complain later on how he turned out after you turned him on to it. So
and I'm no saint by any means, Your Honor. I'm no saint whatsoever, but my troubles never involved the police.
You just never got caught. Well, smoking weed at 14 should have involved the police.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
I'm not going to dispute that.
Go ahead.
But he's also, got into stealing cars, breaking and entering, stuff like that. I've never got into that.
What age did he start that?
Probably around like 16.
What were you doing during that time?
I was still attending school, going to school. I went to vocational school for restaurant services, and then after that, I went to culinary school to try to, make a life.
What do you
for
think
myself.
Happened with him?
Just trying to hang out with the wrong crowd.
Peer pressure.
Hanging out with people that, were unsavory characters, hanging out with
You
people.
didn't face the same pressure or same
I've always been kind of like a homebody. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to be a chef.
Give me some background, sir?
First of all, breaking and entering, that's alleged. I've never broken and entered.
That is not true. Not
never
true.
Broken and entered into anything.
I
stole
paperwork.
a car because I had ran away from home. And yeah, it was a dumb decision, but that was alleged too. There's no evidence saying I stole a car.
You just admitted it.
See, this
no
is
wonder
what I'm
you
talking
got
about,
caught.
Your Honor. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, like he said, we grew up together. We were very close as kids. But what I see as the problem was because I was the youngest child, he feels like I got everything handed to me, whereas he had to work for everything. So it created a sort of jealousy.
At what age?
Not true.
All of our lives.
So he was working at age 5?
No.
You said all of your lives.
Okay, I'll say about probably when I was in 8th grade and he was in high school.
So what made you think he was jealous of you? That's what I'm missing.
Because he's crazy?
He wanted to steal cars?
No, because
you got expelled from school.
Because he had to work for everything he had, and he felt like I had everything handed to me.
You did.
Regardless of my behavior.
All right, and that made him jealous. How did he show that jealousy?
Just going around trying to prove he was better than me, trying to prove himself to our parents.
What do you think he should have done?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, sir. How does he owe you for lost wages?
On my way home from work after a long 8-hour day, and I see the police officer pull up behind me, and he flashes lights. So I'm like, I took a double take in the rearview mirror, like, man, this has got to be a joke. So he pulls up and walks up to my car and tells me he has a warrant for my arrest. And I said, he asked me, was I David Dawkins? I told him correct. He told me he had a warrant. I said, you've got to be kidding me. He said, I would not flash my lights and pull you over just to come tell you a joke. Take the keys out of the ignition and hand them over. So then I'm like, I immediately state, like, I know this is my brother because he's done this in the past. I know this is him. He did let me call my mother, and my mother even tried to talk to him because, again, we've dealt with this so many times. And he just told her, ma'am, there's no way to verify this, so I've got to do my job. So I went down there, spent like 3 or 4 hours in the holding tank, and then I thought I'd be getting out because they would figure out it wasn't me, and then I got taken upstairs and I had to stay in Franklin County the entire night. It was terrible. They keep moving us from cell to cell to cell. People haven't brushed their teeth, haven't showered, anything like that. I'm pretty meticulous about how I keep myself. I didn't get to shower for 2 days, Your Honor.
Yep.
When I went before the judge, he raised my bond from $100 to $200. I have no record. I don't see why he would have raised it.
So what ultimately happened?
They transported me to the workhouse. I spent another night in the workhouse, and I didn't get out until 12 o'clock on that Friday. And they had the paperwork because my parents went down to Ross County where the incident happened and pitched a fit, and they got their prosecutor to send some stuff up to the workhouse, but they let it sit on the fax machine all night, well, even though I was asking all night, like, this is not my charge.
That's the injustice system.
It is.
Yep, not unusual, unfortunately. Not that everybody does that who works in the justice system, not even most. Some do, many do not. And so you missed how many days of work?
2 days of work.
How did you discover it was your brother?
Oh, because he's done this before, and I didn't do anything, and it's from Ross County,
Sir?
which the county he resides in.
What do you want to tell me?
What he said is true. I did use his name because
Why?
I was driving with no license and I didn't want my car impounded because I didn't have the money to get it out.
So you didn't care about him?
No, my intention was to pay the ticket before.
Why didn't you?
Because he got picked up before I had a chance to pay it.
Not true.
Go ahead.
In the earlier instance, when I had used his name previously, I went to jail as him because of a warrant he had received himself.
Traffic ticket.
A traffic ticket for speed.
And you aren't countersuing?
No, I'm not countersuing.
So you think this is defense to what you've done?
I just feel like we should have been even.
He told me an eye for an eye, Your Honor.
That's not how court goes. Had you countersued him, that's how you would deal with the issue you have, is through a countersuit.
Right.
Instead, you thought you could just deal with it any way you wanted to, and that is use it as a defense to say you're even?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You sound like a criminal that doesn't know how to defend himself very well. What are you doing with your life now?
I'm just working and raising my 2 kids.
Good. Stay there, because you're not made for the streets, Doc.
I learned that a long
that's
time
not
ago.
your thing. All right? That doesn't work for you. You'll get locked up, and at some point, you might get robbed, killed, or otherwise harmed by some real thugs.
Right.
Good luck to you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the total amount.
I haven't seen this dude since like almost 2 years. This is the first time I've seen him, and luckily Doyle's between us because I'd punch him out right now.
Well, I just want to say I apologize for using your name. I'm getting my license back, so I won't use your name ever again.
I hope not.
I'll accept the responsibilities of my troubles as a man.
We'll have to sit down and talk about this because these wounds, I spent 3 days in jail and these wounds will not close easily. So
People go to jail every day, man. Put your skirt down.